Back in the 1970s, women weren't swiping right or scrolling through Instagram profiles. They had a whole different list of what made a man attractive, and some of the qualities might surprise you. From rugged independence to disco dance floors, what women looked for in men in the 70s reveals a lot about love, culture, and the changing world of that decade. Right, set the scene. The 70s were wild. We're talking bell-bottoms, vinyl records spinning at every house party, disco balls lighting up the night, and a society that seemed to be shifting every time you blinked. Women were joining the workforce in record numbers, the feminist movement was picking up steam, and dating rules? Well, they were bending. But what did women actually want in men back then? Today, I'm diving headfirst into the traits, habits, and styles that made men attractive in the 1970s. Some will sound timeless, some hilariously dated, and some might even leave you thinking, wait, really? Let's kick things off with the obvious, rugged masculinity. Despite all the changes, plenty of women in the 70s still swooned over men with a bit of a wild side. Think Burt Reynolds rocking that iconic mustache, or Clint Eastwood with his cowboy hat and squint that screamed, "I've seen things." Women talked about being drawn to men who could take charge, who had a sense of independence. Whether it was fixing a car, hiking through the woods, or just walking into a room like they owned the place, confidence and capability were in. But ruggedness wasn't the only thing women wanted. Because the 70s also saw the rise of something completely different: sensitivity. The feminist movement encouraged men to show their feelings, and suddenly being a bit vulnerable was in style. The sensitive guy trope started to take off. A man who could write a poem, strum a guitar at a party, or even admit he was scared. Vulnerability wasn't seen as a flaw anymore, but as a way to genuinely connect. Women wanted that balance, someone strong but also soft. And honestly, can we talk about style for a second? The 70s were a fashion fever dream. Women loved men who could pull off wide-collar shirts, bell-bottom jeans, and yes, a cheeky bit of chest hair peeking out. If you could rock a mustache, even better. Long, flowing hair, bright colors. If you owned a wardrobe as bold as your dance moves, you were halfway there. It wasn't about being squeaky clean like the 50s. It was about confidence, about owning your look, no matter how outrageous. Now let's get real. Disco and free love aside, stability still mattered, big time. Ambition was attractive. Whether you were climbing the corporate ladder, starting your own business, or just showing you could provide and plan for the future, women noticed. The world was a bit chaotic, so a man with direction, with a sense of purpose, felt like a safe anchor in a stormy decade. And then, of course, there was humor. Comedy legends like Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor were everywhere, and women loved men who could make them laugh. Being funny wasn't just about cracking jokes. It was about the confidence to lighten up a room, to turn awkward silences into shared giggles. Even if you weren't the best-looking bloke in the disco, if you had charisma and could keep up with the banter, you were in with a shot. Now music, the heartbeat of the 70s. Women wanted men who loved concerts, who collected records, who'd actually get up and dance. Even if it was just a dodgy John Travolta impression, music taste could absolutely make or break a connection. If you liked the same bands, that was instant chemistry. A shared love for Bowie, the Bee Gees, or Stevie Wonder. That was romance, right there on the dance floor. But here's where things really shifted: respect and equality. Unlike previous decades, women in the 70s wanted more than just a partner. They wanted an equal, men who supported women's careers, who weren't threatened by independence, who genuinely respected women's opinions. Those were the ones who stood out. The feminist wave had changed the rules, and men who clung to old ideas left behind. Let's bring in some real voices. In a 1975 survey, women ranked confidence and a good sense of humor above looks. Cosmopolitan columns were full of women saying they wanted a man who could talk about feelings but also fix a flat tire. Pop culture reflected all this: John Travolta dancing, Al Pacino brooding, David Bowie just smashing gender norms. Different women, different tastes, but always a mix of the classic and the new. And just as important, what didn't women want? Overly macho behavior without any depth, men who dismissed women's opinions, guys who flat out refused to change with the times, arrogance without substance, instant deal breaker. So, what does all this tell us today? Looking back, the 70s were this fascinating mix of old and new. Women still liked some classic masculine traits, but they also wanted men who could adapt, be vulnerable, and respect independence. It was the start of the modern man, strong but sensitive, confident but open, stylish but real. And honestly, a lot of those qualities still matter today. So, what do you think? Have women's preferences changed a lot since the 70s? Or are we basically looking for the same qualities, just with a different package? If you enjoyed this trip back in time, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. Because next time I'm diving into the worst dating disasters of the 70s, and trust me, you do not want to miss it.